Today I'm gonna show you how to go from this to this. What are the steps to bring an image from something that looks very much unpolished to something that looks a little bit more refined and visually appealing? What could be a framework that you can apply pretty much in any situation? Now, if you're like me, you're already probably thinking about lighting, because great lighting can completely transform your shots, right? So naturally you would reach for the switch to turn off your overhead lights and start lighting with your soft lights. Well, maybe before talking about lighting, I should say that this is not a bedroom, it's actually my studio. Can we actually keep it like this? Dude, I work here. But it's so much better now. You're just pretending to play video games. It's not even a TV in front of you, it's an LED mat. If you say so. Anyway, this is not how this room normally looks like. If there's a concept that is important to keep in mind, especially when working on a budget, is that it's not only about what you show, it's also about what you don't show. Cameras have a narrow view of the world, and this is a good thing because it allows us to show only what we want the viewer to see and leave out the rest. And while it would be ideal to have a whole location to perfectly fit our aesthetic needs, we can also cheat it a bit and dress only what we planned our camera to see. So the first step in the framework to produce better images is pre-production. So pre-production basically allows you to understand what you can do and how to go about doing it. In the pre-production phase, I spend a good amount of time analyzing what are the elements that make a certain shot work so that I can apply that understanding to my own shots. And if you're looking for a tool to help you organize this crucial stage, you might want to check out Milanote. Milanote is a completely free app built specifically for creative work. And when they reached out to sponsor this video, I was genuinely thrilled because I personally relied on Milanote for my project over the past 2 years. And at this point, it's honestly hard for me to imagine tackling any creative project without it. Whether you are a filmmaker, a writer, a designer, or just someone who loves working on creative projects, Milanote offers the perfect environment to plan and organize your ideas. For example, here's how I planned the shots for this video. I started gathering some reference frames from shots that meshed what I envisioned, both in terms of framing and set dressing, and that I could realistically recreate within my own space. Then I brought these references into Milanote, where I took notes of what made each shot effective in terms of lighting and set decoration. So to give you an idea of how this process might look like, let's take this image here. It's a rather simple image, but it works and it focuses you on the subject. So I asked myself, what are the elements that make it work? Well, you can see that the elements on the table at the bottom of the frame are not just placed randomly. Their leading lines are all pointing to the subject, giving the viewer's eye a focus point basically, which makes the image much more appealing. And then we have a practical to add some visual interest and motivate the key light, illuminating the subject. And rather than a plain white wall, we have a wooden textured wall which helps separate the subject from the background. And they also use some wall elements, in this case prints, to further add some visual interest to the wall. Also, a tip you can follow, which is very powerful, is to place some of the elements so that they're cut by the framing of the camera. And this gives the illusion that the world extends past the boundaries of the frame so that it doesn't feel like a set. Once I've gone through this process with many images, I end up with some sort of a library that, along with mood boards, serves as a practical guide for dressing and lighting my own shots. And if you're a little messy like I am and don't know where to start with organization, Milanote offers a wide variety of templates to kickstart your process. Simply load your chosen template and fill it with your own ideas, visuals, and details, and you're good to go. If you want to try Milanote for yourself and see how it can streamline your creative process, it's completely free. You can click on the link down in the description and start organizing your ideas like never before. So thank you, Milanote, for helping us creatives declutter our minds, and thank you for sponsoring this video. So once you're done with the pre-planning of your shots and you have a precise idea of what you want, it's time for step number 2, set dressing. As a solo filmmaker, and more in general when working on a budget, the cinematographer might be required to cover the role of the set dresser. And I find fascinating how much set dressing can really enhance the quality of your image. Sometimes just as much, if not more, than lighting itself. So for this bedroom shot, I first needed to get rid of some furniture so that I could start with a clean canvas. And then I was gonna need a few things like a bed, a bedside table together with a bedside lamp, movie posters and photos, a keyboard and a guitar because why not, a retro TV, and I finished it off with a plant. So once we have everything set up, that's when we're gonna turn off the lights. And it's now time to talk about lighting. The first light I turned on was the practical in the background, which was fitted with a 200 watts tungsten bulb dimmed down to get a very warm color temperature. Then I had an Aperture MC Pro hidden behind the TV set to 10,000 Kelvin and an Amaran F21C with a grid set to 7,500 Kelvin as my main key light. Basically, the Amaran F21C is illuminating the subject while the MC Pro is acting as a catch light and adding some cooler tones to the face. And then to add some additional cooler tones, I just bounced an Amaran F22C on the wall set to 219 hue degree at 29% saturation in the HSI mode. And then the last kick of light was given by a Godox tube light to extend the reach of the practical, and this was set to 2700 Kelvin. And even though the placement of the lights was quite straightforward, it took me a long time to find the right balance to achieve the mood I was looking for. It's really important to remember that the image has to be found. It's not a formula, which is what makes it challenging, but also really fun. For this last shot, I wanted something more visually appealing than just a couch against a white wall. So just like with the previous shot, the first step was creating some sort of set to work with. I put on some cheap wallpaper, moved the couch, which was over there, hang two prints, and a couple of hours later I had something like this. Well, the lighting was actually incredibly simple. I just had some natural light coming from the window. Right now it's a little later compared to when I actually recorded the shot of the intro, so yeah, it's getting a little dark outside, but before, the ratio between the practicals and the natural light was perfect. Like, I really liked it, so that's when I hit record on the camera basically. And the only other light that I had apart from these two practicals and the natural light was the Aperture MC Pro hidden behind the TV, and it acts like some sort of fill light and catch light. But yeah, basically that was it. Most of the time was spent trying to find the right framing with the camera and the right positioning of the plant so that I could see a little bit of this lamp as well. So yeah, all of this to say that each image is its own thing, and it takes time and observation to get to the look that you have in your head. Even just for the setup for the talk of this video, I had a rough idea of what I wanted, but this was the first take on it. And then I slowly massaged the image until I got to the end result. And it took me roughly 2 hours to get there. So what you see here, it took me 2 hours to, let's say, build it up and dress it and light it. Yeah, take your time, enjoy the process, don't think about formulas. And honestly, this video is a sort of a personal reminder, because for the longest time, I was always trying to find the perfect lighting formula. And I felt like I was stuck following rules instead of trying to put on the screen what was in my head. And sometimes I didn't even have something in my head because my mind was too busy following rules rather than imagining an image. So I don't know, think less, imagine more, experiment, but most of all, have fun with the process. So this was all for today. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, bye.